Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir, Al-Quran wa Durrah. The jewels of the Quran, its pearls, still reading from Surah Al-Imran, and we have reached verses 128 and 129, and we'll also, inshallah, will continue to verses 132 to 136. The theme in these verses, the predominant theme, of course, is the notion of forgiveness. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving, and He is oft forgiving. We sin and we oft sin. But let's read the verses first, and inshallah we'll try to shed light on the meaning in the attempt to understand why Imam Ghazali considered these as pearls and the first section as jewels. أعوذ بالله السميع من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ليس لك من الأمر شيء أو يتوب عليهم أو يعذبهم فإنهم ظالمون ولله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض يغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء والله غفور رحيم. So these were verses 128 and 129. You, addressing the Prophet ﷺ, have no say in the matter. In the matter, we'll explain it after we read the verse, inshallah, the translation, which is an interpretation really. It is related to hurting the Muslims, hurting the Prophet ﷺ even personally. We talk about the Prophet ﷺ even praying against the pagans of Mecca. At any rate, you, me addressing the Prophet ﷺ, have no say in the matter. It is up to Allah to turn to them in mercy or punish them, for indeed they are wrongdoers. To Allah alone belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth. He forgives whoever He wills and punishes whoever He wills. And Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. We know very well that there were non-believers, pagans, idol worshippers from Mecca and from elsewhere who, despite being arch enemies, they became Muslims. Some of them became Muslims, some of them insisted, and they were consistent in their animosity towards the Muslim community, towards the Prophet ﷺ, those sometimes even being relatives of the Prophet ﷺ. His own uncles, some became Muslims, not all of them at the same time. Some remained non-believers, with one of them, a category unto himself. He remained non-Muslim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his uncle Abu Talib, but he defended the Prophet ﷺ against those who wanted to hurt him, to harm him after he became a prophet at the age of 40. So he was amongst his community for all these 40 years. He was known to be the trustworthy, Al-Amin, the trustworthy. He was known to be true, the truthful. He would not lie. They knew that, and lying was not really something that the Arabs they shunned lying. Abu Sufyan himself, before he became Muslim, when he was in Jerusalem, and Hercules he asked him, and there was a group of pagan leaders in Jerusalem and traders from Mecca, and Hercules asked him about Prophet ﷺ, and he wanted to stabbed the Prophet ﷺ in the back. Remember, Abu Sufyan was not a Muslim yet. He wanted to say something, but he remembered that he did not want this to be on his record amongst the people of the Arabian Peninsula, that he lied. Yes. They were generous, they would not lie. There was an alliance really for the weak, the meek, the needy. So not everything was bad. There were bad things, of course, and first and foremost, they were pagan. They were pagans. Khalid bin Walid, radiallahu anh, he became Muslim, but not until he did hurt the Muslims, because he was a great military general. And in fact, we will be mentioning the Battle of Uhud, inshallah. So we have various traditions, and they are mentioned by some of them by Al-Bukhari, and it doesn't mean that it's either or. It could be that the Prophet ﷺ prayed against some pagans at one point, maybe some others. So first of all, it's not up to the Prophet ﷺ. ليس لك من الأمر شيء. It's not up to you. The matter is not up to you, meaning that everything belongs to God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You, as a prophet, as a messenger, your role is to convey the message. We hold people accountable. For example, فإنما عليك البلاغ وعلينا الحساب. That's really from the Qur'an. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Qur'an, their guidance is not up to you. ليس عليك هداهم ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء. So it's not up to you to guide people. Your role is to convey. Guidance belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also in the third verse, إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء. You don't guide whom you love. So for example, the Prophet ﷺ wanted really that his uncle Abu Talib would accept Islam, but it seems that he did. Of course, he didn't. So the other parts of the verse, أو يتوب عليهم, that he would forgive them, that he would even also that he would deliver him from disbelief into belief, to guidance. أو يعذبهم, meaning that in this life, or in the also in this life and the hereafter, because of their disbelief and their sins. If that is the case, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges, decrees that they will be punished, it's because they deserve it. فَإِنَّهُمْ ظَالِمُونَ, for indeed they are wrongdoers. According to a narration in Al-Bukhari, a narration that of the Prophet, about the Prophet ﷺ, Salim narrated by way of his father that he did hear the Prophet ﷺ saying, after raising his from the position of ruku', in the second rak'ah of Fajr at dawn, so he's bowing now. It's the second prostration, the full prostration. Muslims, hopefully also non-Muslims, know that the dawn prayer has only two full prostrations. And in the second, after the second one, meaning after he raised from the second one, obviously this is time also for a supplication, Muslim scholars differed about the whether one should do this after Fajr, after the 2 rak'ahs of Fajr, and just before prostrating. So you raise from bowing down, you have dua al-qunut, and then you prostrate, or after that you do it after you finish the night prayers, the extra supererogatory prayers, and then the very last single full prostration, you would have dua al-qunut then. So we have difference about the time. But when you have nawazil, when you have calamities, when you have ongoing things, say like the genocide in Gaza right now, there are imams who make qunut, their dua, their prayer, almost after every prayer. So typically when we talk about the evening or the night prayer at Al-Aqsa Mosque, Dome of the Rock, local mosques, they will have qunut because of asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to end this genocide. At any rate, so this hadith, after he raised his head from bowing down in the second prostration of the dawn prayer, Allahumma la'an fulanan wa fulanan. After he says, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this particular verse 128, Laysa laka min amri shay'. And other prophetic traditions narrated by, we said the first one narrated by Imam Bukhari. Imam Ahmad has a narration in his compendia of hadith. In it, it does spell the names of those mentioned in the first one. Allahumma la'an Harith bin Hisham, Allahumma la'an Suhayb bin Amr, Allahumma la'an Safwan bin Umayyah. So thereafter, so he mentioned these three pagan men, and this verse was revealed, and it seems that all these three became Muslims in one narration. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided them to Islam, despite the fact that the Prophet ﷺ prayed against them. Yes. The same thing, it's not only praying against, but also praying for. We have also hadith in Bukhari in which the Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh said that the Prophet sallallahu used to do the following when he wanted to pray against or for someone. He would basically have this dua qunut after the raising from bowing down, and وَرُبَّمَا قَالَ, and maybe he would say سَمِعَ اللَّهُ لِمَنْ حَمِدَهُ رَبَّنَا لَكَ الْحَمْدُ. So this is part of the prayer, of course, in all 5 daily prayers when you raise from bowing down. And then he would pray for, we mentioned one in which he prayed against. This one has both So he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save Al-Walid bin Al-Walid, Salama bin Hisham, وعياش bin Rabi'ah, والمستضعفين المؤمنين, and those believers who were weak, subjected to hardship, maybe torture, maybe. والمستضعفين بالمؤمنين. Then he prayed against the tribe of Mudar and asking God to send years of drought, like the years that Prophet Joseph, son of Jacob, Sini Yusuf, that he witnessed. They were 7, but no numbers are mentioned here. Simply years like the years of Joseph, meaning the years that Prophet Joseph witnessed, and of course through his management he saved Egypt. His management, meaning the way he managed the wheat harvest over the 7 years before the famine, the drought hit them for 7 years, that consumed what they have saved for them in the first 7 years. And in some dawn prayers, he did mention some tribes from amongst the Arab tribes, until this particular verse was revealed. Now, we said that Uhud will be mentioned. The Battle of Uhud, I think it's very important to remember that after the migration of the Muslims from Mecca to Medina, the Meccan pagans pursued their leaders. They pursued a zero-sum game. They wanted to kill the nascent Muslim community. They knew that this is the end of their heydays as leaders of the Quraysh and their allies, as leaders of the Arabian Peninsula. That what the Prophet ﷺ brought, the revelation. They did not understand as revelation. They simply saw one aspect to it, that this is the end of their status in the Arabian Peninsula. So they pursued a zero-sum game. Badr, the first battle, they were defeated, though the ratio was 3-1. About 1,000 Meccans facing just a little bit more than 300 Muslims. Uhud is a different story, but remember Uhud, Badr, Al-Khandaq, the trench, all were either in the vicinity of Medina or literally in Medina itself. So with Uhud, the Prophet ﷺ assigned a position for the archers, Muslim archers, and he told them not to leave their position. The archers, when they saw that the battle was practically ended, they left their place. So they have disobeyed the Prophet's command, order. At that time, Khalid bin Walid, who was still not a Muslim, that great general, military general, he saw an opportunity. He circled the mountain and he surprised the Muslims. He attacked them from the rear, if you will. At any rate, during the day of Uhud, that battle, the Prophet ﷺ was injured in his face, and one of his teeth was broken also. That's the lateral incisor. So don't talk about the frontal. Two, just the one to the side, one of them. These are 4 teeth. One of them was broken, and the Prophet ﷺ did ask the question. He said, كيف يفلح قوم فعلوا هذا بنبيهم ويدعوهم الله عز وجل. how they are going to be successful, these people, when they do this to their prophet, while he was simply calling them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Allah azza wa jal. And one should pay attention. We said in English, be successful. This is the difference between najah and falah in Arabic. Najah is still success, but typically it's in this world. Falah is success, but it's in the hereafter. So the Prophet ﷺ was asking about the hereafter. And then this verse, لَيْسَ كَالْأَمْرِ شَيْءٍ, was revealed. Imam Muslim narrated this in his compendium, in his Sahih. وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ يَغْفِرُ لِمَن يَشَاءُ وَيُعَذِّبُ مَن يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Simply confirming that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth. He forgives whoever He wills and punishes whoever He wills. And Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. Forgiveness is there. Subhanallah. In the notion of forgiveness, inshallah, will continue in the next selection, 130 to 136. But it's really Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who everything in the universe belongs to Him. Forgiveness is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who go to paradise, who go to hell, that's a divine decree. And they will be asked about what they do, not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. Everyone will be asked, but we don't question the divine decrees. There is faith, there is practice, there is belief, there is disbelief, there is acceptance, there is rejection, there is submission, there is rebellion, and everyone will harvest what he or she sows in this world. Until the next session, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.